right, hello. Welcome, everyone. Happy CircuitPython Day. Uh, if you don't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. This is a special live stream for CircuitPython Day. We're going to be working on a game on the Fruit Jam. Before I jump right in, I do want to say thanks to all of the other folks who participated in live streams today and who participated in the chats and everything. I appreciate everyone was around. I do encourage anyone, if you didn't get a chance to see any of the live streams, to go back and check out the playlist on YouTube. All of them are in there. There was lots of great content, lots of great discussions, lots of great things shown. So check out the live streams from earlier in the day if you have not. Also, huge thanks to Liz for making everything today happen, for organizing everything, both behind the scenes, for running things in front of the scenes, for running the streams, for doing so many different things to make today possible with all the live streams and everything else. So thanks to Liz for coordinating and putting all this together. Excuse me. Right. So I am, like the title says, I'm going to work on a game. For anyone who doesn't know, Game Jam is usually like a thing where you kind of pick out a game idea, work on it for a while, just try to smash it out and see how far you can get. So today, I think we'll stream here for about an hour. I'll work on it, and then if you are interested in seeing where the project goes, we'll pick it up probably tomorrow over on my own stream. I'll work on it for a bit, and then if it is still fun and interesting, if we're still solving fun problems with it, then maybe I will work on it a bit more as well. You can follow that over on my stream if it ends up being the case as well. But definitely for this stream and some more tomorrow over on my own channel, we'll see how far we can get in the game I have in mind, which is a maze, a Halloween-based, Halloween-themed maze game. I have a tile set here, and while we're still sort of in thank yous land, in addition to Liz and everyone else who streamed and everything, I will say that I owe a thank you to a couple of these assets from itch.io. This Halloween graphics one, I've got some cool stuff from there, and this Halloween pixel graveyard one, I have got the tiles from there as well. These are a couple of bucks. You can pick them up over on itch.io if you want, and they are permissively licensed. If you pay for them, you're allowed to use them in your own projects, commercial, personal, anything you want, which is what we are doing here today. I'm making a game out of them. All right, let me just hide this one. I don't really need this for right now. All right. If anyone has questions or anything about the game or anything else Fruit Jam related or CircuitPython, Display.io, those are kind of my fortes. I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat about anything I know about, or try to point you to answers to anything I don't know about, even if it's unrelated to what I'm working on here. This is totally cool, fair game if you want to ask questions. Sort of a similar vibe as Deep Dive, which is a typical Friday stream we do here. So the game I want to make is basically we'll have a maze. We'll use these graveyard tiles to draw like grass where you're allowed to walk. We'll draw maybe boulders and some other stuff where the walls are. And the goal will be for the player to navigate through the maze and to pick up candy. There's a couple of candies in this one, and there's some more candies that I really liked over in this one that are nice and vibrant, which I think we'll use as well. So that's the like general idea. We have a maze. We're going to move around inside there. We're going to collect candies. I think maybe the candies will just keep respawning. So like as you pick them up, more candies will spawn, and maybe you'll go for 30 seconds or a minute or something, just collect as many candies as you can. Or maybe we'll just keep it free flow and you can kind of play as long as you want, collect as much candy as you want, and just see the number keep going up or whatever, right? So very much we are at the very beginning stages of this. I didn't want to work on it too much before the stream. In the spirit of game jamming, I did want to kind of jam it out on the stream. I haven't done absolutely nothing, but I haven't done very much, so I am going to try to hit the ground running here in the code. I'll show you what I have so far, and then we'll get started. Basically, all I have right now is a function that generates a maze. The maze comes out as a 2D list where ones are walls and zeros are floors, and I have a test tile grid that's just drawing on the screen the sprite sheet, the same one that we just looked at a minute ago, that Halloween graveyard sprite sheet. And the maze generator does work, but it's not actually outputting to anywhere useful just yet. It's just printing here in the console, and I had it swap in hashtags for walls and spaces for floors where you're allowed to walk. And it's kind of spaced out, so you can't necessarily tell where all of the stuff is at, but that's the rough idea of the maze generator. And then of course we can pass in different sizes, we can pass in different seeds to get different mazes. So maybe we'll have different levels or something. Maybe once you find all the candy in one level, maybe it teleports you to a new one or something. I don't know. We'll get into that kind of stuff down the road a bit. First, we need to take our maze and get it into a tile grid. For anyone who doesn't know, tile grid is kind of one of the core building blocks for Display.io. Tile grid allows you to have a grid of tiles and then be able to replace whichever tile in the grid you want with whichever tile from your sprite sheet. So we have this sprite sheet here. The very first thing I want to do is paint basically the entire maze with grass from these grass blocks here, so that we have kind of a canvas of space where we can work on top of, and then we'll start putting the walls on top of that, because where I want the walls, I think I'm going to use like boulders maybe to start with, or gravestones. Actually, I guess we'll do gravestones. But I want it still to be on grass visually, right? I don't want like a black hole of just black pixels in a gravestone. I want grass and then a gravestone on top, so we need layers and all that stuff. So let's build a layer of grass first. And what I'm going to do is get rid of / comment out the test tile grid. We're going to make a, I'm going to call it world below tile grid. That's going to be a tile grid. It's going to use the tile sheet from the world. It's going to use the pixel shader from that same tile sheet. That's loaded as on disk bitmap right now. You can see, if you look in the code, you can spy that I did a PNG version a while ago. The PNG one works, but it takes a couple of seconds to load. So I switched over to bitmap, which is like, boom, almost instantaneous, which is pretty cool. We are on the Fruit Jam here, and I have it loaded up in the capture card so I can see it in VLC here. So that's a Fruit Jam device, the same one that like Todd bought and a couple of folks have shown projects for today. And the HDMI I just have connected to a capture card. So I'm going to call this below, because this is going to go below the player. It's going to be the floor. And in this, we need to set a few more things. I want the width and height, which I'm actually just going to use these for. I'm going to give those better names, though I don't necessarily too much like just the one letter thing there. That's constant. We're not going to change it throughout the course of this program, I don't think. I may eventually change it to a different number, but not like as the program is running. Yano says, hi, Tim. Happy CircuitPython Day. Yeah, happy CircuitPython Day as you. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. It's been a fun day. What really grabbed my attention from our group of amazing presenters offered, I really appreciated the insight Dan and Scott gave how CircuitPython will be evolved over the course of 9 to 10. Yeah, so Dan and Scott's talk was really nice. I would say the things that that kind of caught my eye most, or that I was most intrigued in, happy about, super excited to watch and follow along with, were a couple of the community member streams. The spacesuit that Sophie Wong made, I think, is super cool. She was showing the helmet off and how the different components work together. And how it was designed to be like not only just like a cool prop, but like usable, because it needed to be filmed in, so it needed to be robust enough to not get broken up. And she was talking about ventilation and everything, which is not even something I ever considered. I haven't ventured into the world of cosplay or anything like that. So that was fascinating to me. I always love to see CircuitPython used on practical stuff in the real world. Like I love just making little things that are just for me for fun, to tinker around with, but I also really love to see people use CircuitPython out in the world for a real thing. So seeing that project that she made, the spacesuit, which was used for the filming, that was super cool. And then the other one, which I also have to mention, is the all the different projects and all the stuff that Professor Gallagher was talking about on his stream. Also, you know, in a similar vein, I love to see all the stuff that the students of his course come up with. Professor Gallagher, obviously super cool, has loads and loads of free material on YouTube. for learning all the different stuff that's taught in the course, and I love each semester to see the posts and the videos and the things come out of what the students there have worked on, including all the ones that he showed off today. I thought were obviously super cool. So those were my sort of top picks for the day, so to speak. But obviously everything was super cool. All right. The Adafruit IO stuff was also super cool. I've got some ideas to play with coming out of the Adafruit IO stream as well earlier this morning too. All right, so this one, we need the size. This takes width and height, I think, the same way, so we can pass those in. It also takes tile width and tile height. Those are actually just 16 in my case. My sprite sheet is 16 by 16 for all those sprites. And we can do a default tile of 181, actually, which happens to be where this X right here is, which in the final asset, I actually cut out that X. That's a little big. In the final asset that's on the CircuitPython device, I actually cut out that X and made it an empty square so we can use it for transparent. So this, if we put that in our group, that should just be blank. We should be able to see no more sprite sheet and just a blank tile grid, but we don't. We see this brown rock thing. So what has gone wrong? 181 must be the wrong number. Oh, you know what? It should be 180. It should be 180 because there's 182 total, but it is 0 indexed. So I think that needs to be 180, not 181. There we go. Okay, so blank. There we go. Nice and blank. All right, so I want to fill it with grass, and the first way that we'll do this is the quick, easy way. So I have this sprite sheet, which is, I figured this out, where was it? It's 14 by 13. It's 13 tall by 14 wide. So 14, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I want the 6th row down. So that's going to be 14 times 5 plus whatever we want there. So we need to know the index of the tile that I want to use. So that's what we're trying to figure out right now. 14 times 5, that's 70. And then I want to add, let's say I want this tile right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need to add 8 to that. And then we need to subtract 1 because it is 0 base. We don't want to make the same mistake we just did before. So 78 and then 77. That should be the basic grass. So if I actually do that and rerun this, we should now get a big patch of grass. And then what we can do if we want to be a little more cool with it is this sprite sheet includes a couple of different grasses. Actually, there's like 3 or 4 different grasses here to make the pattern less repetitive. Yano also says there in the Discord, yeah, Sophie's presentation of the design considerations that are involved in that helmet was amazing. And I wish I had a professor like Professor G and access to a course like that when I was in college. Yeah, totally agree on all fronts there. Okay, so we can maybe randomize this a little bit. We can choose any of these 4 tiles instead of just filling it with 1. We do need to know the indexes for those. So we have 77. We should be able to just plus 14 3 more times. So 77 plus 14 is 91, plus 14 is 105, plus 14, 119. So yeah, 77, 91, 105, 119. So let's make a list and say grass tiles. Be a tuple. Actually, we don't need to add to it later. 77, 90, 91, 105, 91, 105, 17, 19. And then we can let this fill with that, but then what we can do is loop over it afterwards and reset the tiles to be random choices from there. So let's randomize the grass a little bit. So for, let's just say we're gonna say Y and range height, X in width, and then world tile grid X, Y, and set that to a random choice from the grass tiles. So now each time we run it, we would actually get a different sort of randomized pattern in the grass. Cool. It just gives it a little bit more variance. And we only have 4 tiles, and we are going to be putting boulders and stuff on top, so some of it's going to get covered up, but that gives us a good sort of background to work with, sort of ground layer to work with. Okay, so next, I want to make a world same, so like below, above, and then same. And that is like below the player, same layer as the player, above the player. I don't know for sure if we'll use above or not, but that's a common thing done in games, and we'll need it if we want to have stuff that's kind of like that the player can walk behind, essentially. So like if we had this hut and we wanted the player to be able to like go around and be behind it, or like this lamp post right here, if we wanted the player to be able to walk around behind it, then we need that over, that above layer. I don't know for sure if I'll use that or not, but that's something we could do. That's weird that it did width but not height. It's also a little weird that they're on different rows now. So that one, we're going to default definitely to the transparent tile. All right, and then what I want to do now is let's generate the maze, actually, a little earlier. Let's generate the maze here, and then while we are looping through this, we can actually fill our same layer as well. That way we don't have to loop over this more than once. Right now, at least. We'll probably be looping over it a few more times, I'm sure. So for now, let's just grab this tombstone. We'll just make all the walls out of tombstones for now. So that one is in the first row. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next number 9. So what we want to do there, we already have the maze. So we're going to say if maze, and that's that should be a 2-dimensional list, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that should be a 2-dimensional list. So that should be Y and then X. I'm going to say if that's equal to 1, it's kind of redundant, but that's fine. I kind of just like it that way. We're going to set the same... We're going to set it at X, Y, importantly, instead of Y, X, so those get flipped there. We're going to set it to, what did I say, 9 for the tombstone. And that is a different tile grid, so we need to add that to the group. Maybe we should call this world player tile grid. No, I don't really like that either. I'm gonna copy it for now because I don't really like same that much either. But eventually, I'm gonna try to better name for that. Okay, theoretically now, there we go. We have our maze now generated in the tile grid. So we have grass blocks that we would be allowed to walk on. We have tombstone blocks that would count as walls once we get the rest of this built up and we're walking around. And eventually I think we'll make this bigger and we'll probably have a camera that could pan around it. I'm not sure how much memory we have exactly, so we'll play with that at some point. But for now, we're going to keep it basic here. I wonder if we have room to scale this. What if we try main group scale 2? size. Is that going to be too big? Yeah, too big. Okay. So we would need to right away. We would need to get into. Oh, that's interesting. Happen. We would need to get into the camera, being able to pan around if we wanted to use this bigger scale. I do kind of like this. I kind of like the bigger scale. So the fruit jam. I mean, it really depends on what it's plugged into. I think we should make the game fit inside a 640 by 480. I don't know. Well, okay, how about this? What if we leave the scale as 2? So 15 is fine, but 21 is a little too big. Presumably 15 by 15 would be fine. 15 by 19? Looks like maybe might be really close. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that fits. Let's do it that way for now. It takes a little longer to render, but it does look nicer on this screen coming in over this capture card at this size, which is convenient. Okay. The maze is there. Next thing though I want to do is not just use the tombstone for everything. Let's make it so it could be a bunch of different things. Maybe it could be the tombstone. We could actually have all the different tombstones, or at least the top 3. This one's kind of low. It's like not necessarily 100% apparent that it is that it would block you, essentially, that you couldn't walk over it. And I do want all of these things to be walls, essentially. I want to use these coffins. Those are going to require special logic because they're 2 tiles wide, so we're not going to do those yet. But let's say we took all of these gravestones, all of these boulders, and all of these 4 creatures here, gargoyles, and yeah, let's start with those, and all of those we will make into the walls. We'll have it randomly choose kind of the same way that the grass did. So this is 9. What is up, Beatograph over on the YouTube? This is 9. That's going to be whatever is 9 plus 14, 23. And then another 14, 37. Writing these down. Wall, tiles, 9, 23, 7. Okay, we're gonna have to calculate some of these ones. So that's 14, and then we want 14 times 4. Maybe convenient to use the more convenient to do this. I don't know. 14 times 4. That's 56, and then we want to be 56, and we want to be well, let's see. So it'd be 50. 55 would be here, the index, and then 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. 58, 69 are the 2 in this row. 8, 9, and then we want 14 more than both of those. $82 and 83. And then I think also 14 more again, right? Because there's 6 boulders we could use, yeah. This one, I don't know about this one. Maybe we won't use that one. Fine, we'll do it for now. 6, so we can do 14 again. So 82 and 14, that's 96. 6 and 97. I've been doing CAD mostly as usual. Nice. 3D design going. 96, 97. Right. Let's start there, or let's do the gargoyles actually, because the gargoyles are gonna be 98, 99, and also 84, 85, because those are in the rows. And if it's not apparent like what's going on here, this is just because we access the tiles via their index, starting at index 0, top left, counting across, and then going down. We need to know the index of that tile when we want to set it onto the tile grid. If anyone wants a guide that explains this, I can link it at. So here, instead of just setting this to 9, we can go random choice of wall tiles. And now we should get very chaotic randomized maze. Okay, something has gone wrong. So we have some brown grass tiles and some bushes, and we have the black hole. I have definitely messed that up. So we have the original tombstone, we have the diagonal cut tomb. So we have all 3 tombstones. But it looks like we have a couple gargoyles. We don't have any boulders. I've got the wrong numbers here. Okay. So 13. That's index 13. And then the next one down is 27. 13, 27. This one is 4 tall. The last one should be 55. And the next one should be... Okay, 69. So that's where our bushes came from. So that should be not 68 and 69. It should be the 2 before that, 67 and 66. Let's have those wrong. And then that's going to mean probably the rest of... Some of these are wrong. Let's just run it like that, though, instead of trying to fix it all at once. Okay, so now we have boulders. Why would we... I guess because there are some down there. Okay, yeah, and then I think the deal is these are all going to be too... They're all going to be too high. So that would be 80, 81 to 83. 495. There we go. That's looking better. We have boulders, we have gargoyles, we have tombstones. Okay. Let's vary it up a bit with some double wides. So we want to make a rule that says we're going to be allowed to randomly choose one of the casket pieces, but we have to make sure that the tile after us is also a wall, and we need to basically also like skip the next one so that we don't overwrite it somehow. All right, so this is probably not the best way to do this, but it is a way that comes to mind. When we find a wall, let's say if the next tile over is also a wall, I'm gonna run it like this because I'm not sure if it's gonna raise an exception on the right edge or not. It is. Okay, so we need to try catch. This time it should run and not crash, but not do anything different except print out that a bunch of times. Okay. So now, let's say two wide wall tiles equal tuple. This is, I'm just gonna do the left tile and then the code is gonna know that it needs to do the one after that also. So 0 through 13 is the first row. That means 14, 15 is one coffin. So 14, and then the code will know that 15 needs to be there. 16 is one coffin, and then we're gonna add 14 to both of those. So that'll be 28 and 30. So we have the left cell of each of those. And then let's make it so there's like some chance that it happens and some chance that it doesn't, and we could vary that later. So let's say if random.rand int, what is that just random AB? So let's say 0 through n, and it's greater than 7, greater than equals to 7. Not sure if that's inclusive or we're gonna go skip next is true. Yeah, and then we can do continue so that we skip this one. Basically what we go on, so so we're going to make this roll. If we get our chance, then we're going to use this to say let's put a coffin here, because we know the next one over is clear, so we can include the full coffin. So let's say maze, the current one is equal to a random choice from the 2 wide wall tiles. Actually, we need to save it. Choice equals choice, and then we need to go maze x plus 1 is going to be choice plus 1, because we know that our right half of all those 2 wide sprites come immediately after them in the sprite sheet. Okay, so sort of like 30% chance, maybe, if that math is right. I'm not sure. Somewhere around there, it will make a coffin instead of 2 walls. We set skip next to true. We need to say if not skip next. Actually, let's say let's do it this way. If skip next, then set it to false and continue. And we also need to continue here because again, we want to skip. We don't want to do this after we have done this. I think that should work. So I have set this in maze randomly instead of in the correct place, which is the layer tile grid. Maybe it should be walls, world walls tile grid. Int doesn't support assignment. Signing it in. Oh, it does not. You cannot do that this way. You need to be XY. So the maze is a two-dimensional list, which means you need to access which list you want, and then you need to access the item within that list. Tile grid has a, I don't know what they call that, but it's square bracket thing takes a comma one, so you can put two values. There we go. Look at that. That's pretty sweet. Okay. All right. We have a lot of those, so maybe we should make this 8. And I'm not sure if that's inclusive or not. Is that the same number? Did it put them everywhere? No, okay, so there's definitely some spots where it did not put them. That's good. Theoretically, I guess we could rotate those. Okay. That's pretty good, I think. Did it actually? Oh, this. That's probably about 20%. So I guess it must be inclusive. And, well, if it's inclusive, it's not exactly 20% anymore because we have. Okay. Okay, pretty cool. Let's put in the player. So to start with, I think I want to just spawn the player here. You might notice we are generating right now the same maze every time, and that's because the maze generator function takes a seed, and right now it's hard-coded. We're always passing in this 42. In the final one, eventually I'll make this so it's different each time. That way you get a different maze. But it's kind of nice now to have it consistent, so when we find problems with different parts of it, they don't just change on us. Okay, so let's put the player in. I have Blinka. I have Blinka and Friends sprite sheet here. There were some pretty cool ones actually in these. Like, there's the zombie one here. There's another one that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, there's these Day of the Dead skeletons. These are pretty cool. And these actually have animation sprites, so we could make them walk and their little feet will move, which would be pretty fun. Not sure if they're 16 by 16. So it doesn't matter too much. So maybe I'll do one of these. There's a couple more characters in one of these. There's like a witch somewhere, I think. There's other vampires. There's some other cool ones. For now, though, I am going to start simple and keep it with just one of these. And then, of course, there's no animations to this, so this will be just the character by itself to start with. Blinka and Friends, let's make this big. Let's grab another everything, basically. Say player sprite. Is a disk bitmap. That's gonna be Blinka. It's a pixel shader. Or well, no, it gets it's on top of it. Or it gets okay. Adabot head with a zombie. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, yeah. Adabot. Okay, we need a tile grid, so let's say player one's going to be using the player splash sheet shader. The width and height, those are going to be just one by one. Those are in tiles. Then tile width, that's gonna be that. Tile height is tile size also. And I'll just say default tile is for right now. So then let's go player tile grid dot x equals. So I want to move it to the tile with indexes 1 1. So if this is 0 0, if this was a zero based coordinate plane, which is essentially what a tile grid is, 0 0 is right here, 1 1 is right here. That's where I want to put Blinka for right now. I'm not sure if that's guaranteed to be clear in every maze, so we might need to have logic that like tries to make sure it's actually clear before we put Blinka there, but for now we know it's going to be clear, and we know it's always going to be clear until I change this seed, so we can just, for the moment. So I'm gonna, it's kind of a weird way to do it, but I'm just gonna say 1 times tile size and 1 times tile size. That way, theoretically, you know, you could make this 2 1 or 3 1 or whatever, and then these are in tiles, and then this is gonna convert it to pixels. And if we get to the point of having a camera, then we are going to have a whole thing to deal with where we got to move around based on where the camera at relative. Now we don't have to. So I have created this, we've moved it, but I have not added it. So let's say, whoops, main group dot append tile grid, and that should be, that can be essentially at the same, yeah, that can be at the same level as player tile, the world player tile grid. Interesting. That's still. Okay, so one thing we do want to do still, which I didn't do yet, is, well, we need to make sure that pink is 0. Move that to 0 and re-export this. So pixel shader dot make transparent 0. So we want that pink color that's in the background to be transparent, so that way when Blinka's on top of grass, you'll be able to see the grass around her. Oh, I have put this on in the wrong, I see. Okay. So we need below. I'm gonna actually put that at the end. So we want below, then we want the walls and stuff, which I'm gonna eventually think of a better name for. Then we can have the player, and then if we end up doing it above, that's where the next one would be the above one. There we go. Okay, now we have Blinka there. So what do we want to do for control scheme to start with? we basically either do keyboard or gamepad. I'm leaning towards the game. It is a lot of code. Look at the keyboard one real fast. So my hesitation on the keyboard one is I think I want it to be like you should be able to hold the button down and blink it keeps moving, right? It shouldn't be like you have to keep smashing the button over and over. And this is the easiest way to read from the keyboard, but this will definitely only read one key at a time. And this is a trickier way to read from the keyboard. They want all of that boiler. I think we're just gonna go with the gamepad to start with. I should, you know what I should do is remember if this is my repo. I don't think this is. I was thinking that this was not for this controller. Yeah, I don't think it is, because these indexes are different. This is a different controller. I think this might be the of like a PS3-ish. Should probably extend this to make it so that you can pass in a configuration. Okay. I think I want to do this one instead of the keyboard because it's going to be kind of a lot of stuff in any which way we slice it. Don't need a verbose scan really. First device found. We could do that. I have a keyboard plugged in right now, but I'll unplug it. Oh, there's the food animation. It's not going to show. Sometimes the IDE is really nice for like knowing a lot of stuff about Python and making coding easier, but it's sometimes like it gets pump up that fruit. Yes, pump up the fruit jam. The animation is pretty slick. Let me Yeah, while this is being funky, let me show over here FruitJam OS. So the animation is part of FruitJam OS. FruitJam OS is technically released, but there's no documentation yet, so it's a bit like you know, you're on your own sort of in the FruitJam OS world at this point. The guide is the FruitJam OS guide is the next one on my plate though, so there will be documentation and stuff soon. I'm using PyCharm. PyCharm, it's got its quirks. Like VS Code looks pretty nice, especially with the extension. That was another cool thing to question earlier. The coolest things I saw today are some of the cool things that I thought. Honestly, all the things that were on Bootloader are really cool, like the fonts and the VS Code and all the stuff they showed. But VS Code's looking really nice these days. I have not messed with it too much personally, but I have been basically using PyCharm as my sort of daily driver IDE for a while now, probably over 10 years, which is kind of insane. Because I did a bunch of work on Android earlier in my career, which obviously is not Python, but Android Studio, which is the current IDE for writing Android apps and has been for many years at this point. Although I used its predecessor as well. Android Studio is made by the same people who make PyCharm, and it's laid out very similar. Lots of the stuff works the same way. All the menus and everything are kind of the same. All the Git version control stuff works the same. So like Android Studio got me hooked on IntelliJ is the Java one. I think JetBrains is the name of the company. Android Studio got me hooked on like JetBrains IDE and layout, and Android Studio is free as well. And then I started also working on Python, like backend web server, web framework, Django stuff, and other Python related things. And naturally, I was like, PyCharm is awesome because I'm used to the way that all this stuff is laid out. And the version, honestly, the biggest thing that drew me to it initially, the one thing that it has that I would not still be using it if it didn't, I wouldn't have made it past those first couple of months using it, is the version control stuff. Like, I was very, very inexperienced with version control, and the GUI that's in here makes it a lot easier to understand what's happening. And it was at a time in my life when I had first started working on a team with other developers instead of being the only developer. So I was like, version control is very important now. And that GUI drew me to it. And ever since then, I've just stuck with PyCharm. There is a free one that you can use for like, I think it's educational and maybe open source. I'm not 100% sure the exact rules, so you got to check this out to know for sure. But there is a free like community one. I do have the paid one. I've had it for a while now just because I've used PyCharm, again, like daily driver IDE for my job for many years. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I was just mentioning FruitJam a little bit. So yeah, FruitJam OS, if anyone's interested, you can get it. It's in the repo. If you want to install it on the releases page here, you can download whatever language you want. Practically speaking, I think the main place the language gets used is in the terminal. Like same thing as if you would download, I think at least the same thing as if you would download different languages of CircuitPython, although I'm not positive on that. But you can download that, you unzip it, and then you paste all that stuff on your device, and it includes the boot animation, which I'll show you again here. Includes the boot animation, so we'll let this run, and then it includes the launcher, which comes after that, although right now I have my CodePy set to that maze game we've been working on. This is just going to go right back into the maze game, but I will show you the launcher real fast here as well. Oh, that's going to make this... this, I would say, is kind of like the downside of PyCharm. The GUI for version control is my biggest upside. A lot of the helper stuff is super, super helpful. Perhaps the biggest downside is the fact that it is always wanting to like scan and index files, which in CircuitPython is unfortunate because your drive, like I just pressed the reset button, which means from my computer's perspective, this drive just disappeared and then came back, right? So it's like, let me scan all the files again. Probably I could make a plugin or something for PyCharm. I think there's a whole API and everything where you could add stuff to it, kind of like the VS Code extension that was shown earlier. But I haven't done it. I don't know for sure if I will. Kind of just don't necessarily want to work too much on it. Well, that was interesting. Oh, yeah, Sam Blenny says, you want simple code for game pads. Yeah, let me do that. Oh, right. This Discord does not let me copy links. Still with this, if this is a long shot. If anyone from Discord, anyone who has sway at Discord happens to be hearing this, please make it so you can copy links from the web version of Discord. Like if you have Discord open in a browser and someone posts a link and you right click it, you can't copy the link. That's like every copy link, like that's part of the internet. I don't know why they turned that off. Like explicitly made it so that doesn't work for some. Yes. Go down here. Down here. Play visualizer. I don't need the visualizer. I just need the events. I don't necessarily want to use async either yet with this project. So that is a cool demo, but I am going to thank you for linking it as well. But I am going to stick for now with this one from Learn, just because it doesn't use async IO. I don't necessarily want to bring it to this project just yet. And it kind of has a way of like, once you have some of your stuff using it, you kind of need more of your stuff using it. I'm going to skip the whole verbose scan section because we're just not going to do a verbose scan. I'm going to also, I think, skip the print array. First device for do stuff. We don't really need to print the array. Reports equal. So right now, I don't really care about this. This is mostly for debouncing, which I don't care about because really what I want is like hold the button down and move the character and keep moving while the button stays down. And we don't need debouncing for that. We don't need previous. I think we need previous state or idle state. When will the fruit jams gonna get stocked? So the first batch was in stock a couple, maybe a week or two back. I don't have the exact timeline on the next batch. Also, one of the things I forgot to mention is the code down there, Snakebite for Circuit Day. If you buy something from the Adafruit store and you use that code, you get a discount today. I don't know exactly how long it runs, so this is the last live stream, so you might want to get on that. If you do want to use it, but it's possible it will last a bit later. I'm not sure. To answer the actual specific question, though, about the fruit jams in stock, I don't know the specific timeline because I work remote just on software and stuff, so I'm not there at the warehouse, at the factory where they're actually manufacturing the devices. But I believe they're coming, soon, TM. I believe the next batch of more than the first one. The first batch was like a couple of dozen, maybe 60 or 70. The next batch, I think, is a couple of hundred. I'm not 100% sure, again, because I'm not there. But I think that's the next batch. And I think that is coming up within the next couple of weeks. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not there. So this is not this is not an official statement of definitely this is going to be when it is. But that is what I think is the next batch. I think is a couple hundred, maybe 100 or 200. And I think is the next couple of weeks. If you do go to the page, the product page, there is an entry form there for email where you can put that in. Although if there are more people in line than end up having devices, then it will still be luck of the draw, sort of. Usually the way they do that is they'll send out batches of emails to give everyone who's earliest in the list a chance to get them. but then also send out more batches if they don't all get bought up. Yeah, and then throughout the rest of the year, there should be more following up as well. So the first batch is behind us, the next batch is the next couple of weeks, and then there are more and more coming as well. It's a little fidgety, but if you click just before the link and then grab and select the URL, you can then right-click it. Oh, so you have to select. Interesting. Okay. Select. Copy link. Yeah, totally. You know what it did is when it's selected. This is like the minor software stuff that I get fascinated by. When it is selected, this is the browser, right? This is from Chrome. This is open in Chrome. This is Chrome drew this context menu versus when it is not selected, this is Discord, right? Discord drew this menu. So that's kind of that's interesting. I didn't realize highlighting would change who gets control of the context menu. That's kind of weird. Okay. This is in there. We're probably not going to have enough time to really do this. Because basically we're at time right now. Let's try this real fast. Let's just say if we press the right button, then player tile grid x plus equals 1 and left minus equals 1. And I suspect this is going to move really, really fast since there's no debouncing or sleep or anything. Oh, actually, it's pretty slow. Nice, but it does work for left and right only right now. And it would not, one thing is there's no walls in the logic right now, so it'll totally just let me walk through this, right? But, okay. We have the basics. We should be able to speed it up, I think. Probably if we turn off these prints, it will speed up. And if we want it to speed up even more, we could use more than 1. Plus equals 2 or something. We take bigger steps. Okay, that is going to do it for tonight's Game Jam stream. Thank you to everyone who watched. Thanks for everyone who watched the rest of the CircuitPython Day festivities. Happy CircuitPython Day to everyone. If you are interested in this maze game and want to catch some more development on it, I'll be back tomorrow. Over on my stream, I usually put the links in the Discord, the live broadcast chat, which is showing right below me here. I usually put links in there when I'm getting started. So tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. That's a different time zone than the rest of CircuitPython Day, right? Everything in CircuitPython Day has been billed in Eastern. Be aware if you want to come back tomorrow and watch some more game jamming, it's 10 a.m. Central Time. I'll put the links in here when I get started, and I'll pick up here. We'll move. We'll get back to moving Blinka around. We'll make the walls so you can't move through them. We'll keep working on this. We'll spawn some candy to pick up. So it'll be fun. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you later. I should be back, I think, for Deep Dive next week, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central. Deep Dive on Friday. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for my stream. I will see you there. Thank you, everyone. I hope you had fun for CircuitPython Day. Thanks to everyone for being a part of the community, for making this whole thing fun and interesting and have all sorts of cool people around. I really appreciate all of you and everyone who's in the community. So that is all for now. Thanks, and I will see you later.